Welcome to The Explainer. Listen, today we're doing more than just a checklist on how to set up an LLC. We're going to deconstruct it. We're going to look at it as a powerful strategic framework for your business. So let me ask you this, and it might be the most crucial question you'll face as a business owner. Here's why. If you don't pick a business structure on purpose, the law just assigns one to you. And that default option, it leaves everything you own personally completely exposed. Okay, look at this. On the left, that's the default setting, a sole proprietorship. In the eyes of the law, you are the business. There's no difference. So if the business gets into debt, your car, your house, your savings, yep, it's all fair game. But on the right, you see what a business entity like an LLC does. It builds a legal shield, a wall that separates your personal stuff from any business troubles. So you see, the answer here isn't just about filling out a few forms. It's about consciously building that protective framework. And according to experts, there's a reason the LLC is the go-to choice for millions of entrepreneurs. It's because it perfectly blends that critical liability protection with some really valuable flexibility. And this whole protective framework, it stands on three absolutely critical pillars. You've got legal separation, internal governance, and financial integrity. Think of them like building blocks. Each one supports the others to create a foundation for your business that is just rock solid. All right, let's get into it. First up, pillar one, legal separation. This is literally the act of bringing your business to life. You're creating a brand new legal entity, one that is totally separate from you, the person. This whole process kicks off with two main steps. First, you've got to pick a unique name for your company. And here's the key, it has to have a designator like LLC or limited liability company at the end. That's the public signal that it's a formal entity. Second, you file a document called the Articles of Organization with your state. That right there, that's the birth certificate for your business. But, and this is a big but, just creating the entity isn't enough. You have to maintain that legal separation. It's an ongoing thing. And the super important part of that is having an official point of contact, someone who's always there to receive any official legal papers or notices from the state. And that's exactly what a registered agent does. This can be a person or a service, and their one job is to be available during business hours to accept those formal documents. You can't just ignore this part. Missing a lawsuit notice or a tax document could have massive consequences. So getting a reliable registered agent isn't just a good idea, it's absolutely non-negotiable if you want to stay in good standing. All right, let's move on to pillar two, internal governance. So we've established your business as a legal entity to the outside world. Now we need to define how it actually runs on the inside. This is a trap so many founders fall into. They think a handshake deal is enough. Let me be clear, it offers zero legal protection. Think about it. If you ever end up in court, the very first thing the other side's lawyer is going to look for is a lack of formal internal rules. It's their primary weapon to try and smash right through that liability shield you worked to create. The answer to this problem is something called the operating agreement. Seriously, just think of it as the constitution for your business. It spells out everything. Who owns what percentage, who's responsible for what, how you split up the profits, and maybe most importantly, it lays out the procedure for what to do if a partner wants out or if you have a major disagreement. And even if it's just you, a single member LLC, this document is crucial. It's the proof that your business is a real, separate thing. And that brings us to the third and final pillar, financial integrity. If the other pillars built the walls, this one makes them fireproof. This is how you build a financial firewall that makes your liability protection practically unbreakable. So the cornerstone of this financial firewall is a specific number you get from the federal government. It's called an Employer Identification Number, or EIN for short. And get this, you can apply for it directly from the IRS, and it's completely free. Really, the simplest way to wrap your head around an EIN is to think of it just like a social security number, but for your business. That's it. It's a unique 9-digit number that tells the government, banks, and anyone you do business with, hey, this LLC is a legit, separate financial entity. Now, this number isn't just for taxes, it's a key. And it's the only key that unlocks the next absolutely critical step: opening a dedicated bank account just for your business. And there it is. That separate bank account is your financial firewall. I can't stress this enough. You have to keep your business and personal money completely separate, no exceptions. The moment you start mixing them, what lawyers call commingling, you give a court an excuse to do something called piercing the corporate veil. And that just means they can say, nope, your LLC isn't a real separation, and they can come right after your personal assets. It completely destroys the whole point of setting this up in the first place. Okay, so with those 3 pillars standing strong, your business is now protected. We've built a fortress. Now let's switch from playing defense to playing offense. It's time to unlock its real power: strategic tax efficiency. The whole game of business tax deductions really boils down to 3 words you'll find in the Internal Revenue Code: ordinary, necessary, and reasonable. That's the standard. If an expense meets that criteria in your line of work, the law says you can deduct it. And that's the legal magic that turns your business costs into real tax savings. And once you have that formal LLC structure, you unlock a massive range of these deductions. We're talking up to $5,000 in startup costs in your very first year. And then there are the everyday things: your home office, the miles you drive for work, even the money you pay your accountant. All of it becomes tax deductible, which directly lowers the amount of income you have to pay taxes on. But once you start thinking strategically like this, you realize something important. Setting up that first LLC, well, that's not the finish line, not even close. It's the starting block. Because as your business grows and gets more complex, your strategic framework has to grow right along with it. So what does that look like? Well, a more advanced strategy often means using multiple LLCs to wall off risk. For instance, experts will often recommend that you put each major asset, say each rental property you own, or each separate line of business, into its own individual LLC. And then maybe you have a parent holding company that owns all of them. The genius of this is isolation. If one part of your business has a major problem, it's contained. It can't spread and sink the whole ship. And all of this really leads us to one final powerful question. We've deconstructed the framework for you. So now I ask you, what are you going to build with it?